to the show. Welcome to the show. Today we're diving into a very concise yet evocative personal reflection. This piece, which appears to be a chapter from a larger work, offers an intimate glimpse into the author's inner world, beginning with a dream and culminating in a profound waking experience. The author starts by describing a dream about an argument with their mother and the presence of a cat on the couch, pointedly choosing to withhold the completely complicated details of the dream. They also mention the cat was looking at me as if to say, "That's not what happened."
It's a fascinating opening, Chloe. The author immediately establishes a boundary, giving us just enough information about the dream to set a context, a potentially fraught relationship, and a comforting presence in the cat, but then explicitly states a refusal to elaborate further. That line about the cat, looking at me as if to say, "That's not what happened," is brilliant. It suggests an observer's perspective on the conflict, perhaps even a subtle disagreement with the author's own memory or framing of the argument. This narrative choice isn't just incidental. It invites the reader to consider the unspoken, to ponder the layers of complexity the author has chosen to keep private, making the shared elements even more deliberate and impactful.
Indeed, and this dream segues directly into a waking moment characterized by a very distinct physical sensation. The author describes being woken by a tickling finger on my back. What's particularly interesting is the immediate, almost instinctive reaction, initially mistaking it for an itch, but then swiftly realizing it was something profoundly pleasant, emphasizing "I liked it" twice.
That shift in perception is key to understanding the experience. The initial thought of an itch suggests a minor irritation, something to be dismissed. However, the subsequent, almost emphatic declaration of "I liked it" indicates a powerful, positive response that overrides the initial assessment. It speaks to a raw, unfiltered pleasure, a sensation that resonates deeply enough for the author to not just acknowledge, but truly relish. It's a visceral pivot from annoyance to deep satisfaction.
This leads us to what the author calls scratchies. This specific term, combined with the admission that this is what I've always wanted people to do to me, and the poignant observation that people are always too tired to do it for me, reveals a significant, long-standing emotional and physical need. How does the author's choice of language here underscore that particular longing?
The term scratchies itself carries a childlike simplicity and vulnerability. It's not a clinical term, but an affectionate, personal label for a specific kind of comforting touch. The phrase, "what I have always wanted," immediately elevates this desire beyond a fleeting wish to a fundamental, enduring need. And the detail about people being too tired is especially poignant. It transforms a simple physical act into a symbol of care, attention, and affection that the author feels is often withheld due to the demands or exhaustion of others. It highlights a recurring pattern of unmet longing.
Yet, the final sentence brings an unexpected turn. Despite the vivid sensation and profound emotional resonance, the author concludes by stating, "When I looked behind me, there was nothing." What does this absence, this lack of an external source, add to the overall impact of the experience?
This conclusion introduces a powerful element of mystery and perhaps a touch of melancholy. The sensation was real, profoundly felt, and deeply desired, yet its origin remains elusive. It forces the reader, and presumably the author, to confront the possibility that this comforting, tickling finger was not an external presence, but rather a manifestation of an internal need, or a phantom sensation born from deep yearning. It imbues the scratchies with a dreamlike quality, even in the waking state, making the experience even more personal and isolated, despite its intensity. The comfort, in a way, was self-generated or sought.
It certainly transforms a simple dream and waking moment into a profound.
Chapter 1. I had a dream about. Chapter 1. Sure. Here's your revised story with the additions. Sensation.
Imagine this scenario. You are lying in bed, floating in that strange, heavy fog between deep sleep and waking up. You feel a hand on your back. It's warm. It's distinct. It's moving. You feel a body next to you, the heat radiating off a leg pressing against yours. It feels so real that your brain registers it not as a dream, but as physical fact. You turn around to look, and there is absolutely nothing there.
For centuries, this experience has terrified humanity. It gave us the myths of the incubus, the succubus, and the old hag. But for our listener today, this wasn't a nightmare. It was actually pleasant. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jake. And that is a crucial distinction. Usually, when we talk about this specific phenomenon, we are talking about terror. But today's submission is fascinating because it flips the script on the standard ghost story. It's intimate, it's tactile, and it opens up a massive conversation about what happens when your brain's sensory wires get crossed.
Exactly. So we received a submission from a user who titled their experience simply Chapter 1. It starts with a dream about an argument with their mother, featuring a cat on the couch, but then it bleeds into reality. They woke up to a tickling finger on their back. They called it scratchies. They felt a warm leg, but the room was empty. Rachel, we have to break this down. Is this a dream? Is it a ghost? What is happening in the brain here?
It is neither a dream in the traditional sense nor a ghost. What this listener experienced is a textbook, albeit unusually positive, example of a hypnopompic hallucination. And to understand it, we have to look at the architecture of sleep itself. We tend to think of sleep as a binary switch. You're either on or off, awake or asleep. But neurobiologically, it's more like a dimmer switch, or even a mixing board where different faders slide up and down at different speeds.
A mixing board. I like that image. So in this case, the dream fader didn't go all the way down before the consciousness fader went up?
Precisely. The term hypnopompic. Precisely.
So in this case, the dream fader didn't go all the way down.